all in all, the attention is a steady incline, a steady increase based on years and 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 years of labor, of hard work, of basketball playing, of getting up, lifting weights, going to the gym. Lots of these women who are supporting their families as primary breadwinners and who, the league didn't have childcare for a long, long time. Like, you just imagine you say I played professional basketball in like 2002, and this is not every city, right? But you could be in a city where you don't have the team doesn't even have childcare, so you you literally wake up, you're like, who do I leave my child with? That's the first thing you think about. Who can I leave my child with while I go play basketball? And then you go, who you probably have morning practice. You might be at the facility till like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, might pick up your child. But then if you have a game that night, then you're gonna drop them right back off at some time. They might be able to come to the game, but depending on how old the child is, probably not. It's just a lot of stuff that I think people don't consider when they very easily blow past the history of the league, and it bothers me because it's a young history. It's not like I understand. To an extent, I understand people who start to pick up basketball as a hobby, as a thing that they enjoy, like whether it be NBA, WNBA, college, whatever. Like they start to enjoy basketball, but they're not super interested in the Wilt Chamberlain times and even like the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar times. I get that a little bit, because what the version of basketball we see now is just so new and different, and everything about the league now is so new and different from even again going back to the Birds and the Magics, and then predating them, the Chamberlains and the Kareems and the Russells. I mean, the league is a lot of people. I talk to kids all the time. I'm like, people used to in the 50s and 60s and the 40s, people were playing basketball games and drinking beer and smoking cigarettes at halftime and on the sidelines, and that's what they had. And that's when they had all these player coaches and they had all these union strikes, and that stuff all feels so ancient when people talk about those leagues that are super established now financially and commercially. But the WNBA, which is an incredibly young league, which is on its way to being established in both realms, it doesn't seem to get that treatment. Like the history just gets completely blown by in every way, shape, and form. And it's again, it's unfortunate. But one way to combat that is to hire coaches who are invested in the league. Like it's pretty clear on all levels when somebody just gets a job because they need a job, and this is referring to a lot of the coaches that this seems to happen to. That like, and it's not always, you know, like sometimes I used to look at the staffs on NFL teams and college teams. I'm like, why is the staff 29 guys? Why do they have 15 offensive analysts and a GA and all this stuff? And at the end of the day, those guys aren't really contributing to the game plan, or the X's and O's or whatever. Like sometimes they're doing stuff that's just like a tier below that. For the most part, they're doing just other kinds of work. You know what I'm saying? Just complete other kinds of work. I would always think to myself, like, man, these people just have this job to have it. But I think you really find that out when they get to the level of a coordinator or the level of a head coach, or they have this expectation, or even a position coach. I think that's when you find out who's just mailing it in. And even you even seen head coaches of a lot of these teams mail it in. So for a newly hired WNBA coach, who happened to be a white male, say that, he's not familiar with the history of the league, and so he's gonna like do his research and all this stuff, and just kind of just say it nonchalantly, and then be like, "Well, I have this other thing to worry about right now, which is his summer league job or whatever." That's cool. Like, yeah, you do have that to worry about, but I think that as a person that's representing these women in this organization, I think that they're owed a little bit more than that, because the question started as somebody asking him about how to be coaching women as opposed to coaching men, and then it turned to this whole thing about how he doesn't know anything about the league. This is Chris. Last name starts with a K. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Not really sure I remember it either. But there's zero black women head coaches in the WNBA, and to me, that's by design. It's not out of the ordinary. You would assume that the interest is there because it certainly is. Lisa Leslie, who is a pioneer in the WNBA, like for long stretches of time was considered the greatest, has registered a dunk in a game before many people. I think the first in the WNBA, unless I'm mistaken, and played for the Los Angeles Sparks, which was like a massive market. And for a certain period of time, the Sparks and the other, bigger market teams, the Comets. I know Houston wasn't as big as it is now, 25 plus years ago, but you understand the point. The Comets and the I mean, the Tulsa Shock were really good, even though they're a small town. Like they were always heavily supported. Um, oh my goodness, Mike Evans just made an incredible catch. Right now in the background, I have on the Falcons and Buccaneers game. I have an incredible thing to talk about the Falcons and Buccaneers game, but that will be on episode 30. So gonna have to catch my episode 30. Zero black women head coaches in the WNBA. There's the entire league. I mean, at this point, I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but the league I'd imagine is at least 75%, maybe 80% black women. And so there's going to be a natural disconnect with that. Um, and I think that the owners understand who they're hiring and who they're firing. And even though Sandy uh, was fired from the Liberty, she got a new job very quickly. You know, she got that Valkyrie job very quickly. Whereas you have Teresa Witherspoon, who was let go from the Chicago Sky in what seemed like no time at all.